Well, hello there. Welcome to Mr. E's Mysteries and Magics. Yeah, I know you said, Alexa, show me something interesting to watch. And you ended up here. Sorry. Hey, stick around for the video anyway. This video, as always, brought to you by RP Magic Shop, where you can pick up a deck of the Leon cards that we are using in this thaumaturgy and the tutorial for, well, I called it Finding Four Kings. It's also known as Mixed Up Kings, which is the label I gave it on the description. So I'm going to call it Mixed Up Kings, Finding Four Kings. It's also known as that, but it's probably better known as Mixed Up Kings, and that's what I'm going to go with, because Finding Four Kings really is kind of generic, and there's a million different ways of doing that, and this is one. I would just like to address one rumor, however, that I have come across since I created the demo video, and that is that these cards, the Leon cards, there is no truth to the rumor that I saw on the internet that if you get these cards for Christmas like I did and you turn them around backwards, they become the Noel cards. Absolutely not true. Don't let anybody tell you that. It is not true. They stay the Leon cards whether you look at them from the front or the back. Let's take a look at how Mixed Up Kings is actually done. A little bit of the history of it. This is actually, as some of you may have recognized actually, a variation of a Di Vernon routine called Triumph. This is a little bit different twist on that, although it does kind of use the storyline that Di Vernon uses about the drunk taking his cards and so on and so forth. And you know the Tenkai Palm, right? Well, Tenkai Ishido has a little bit of something to do with this particular version of it too, and I will talk about that when we get to it. Now, you saw the effect. They take the cards, they turn half of them face up, and shuffle it into the deck face up, and half of them are face down. But there is a little bit more to it than that. There is a setup involved, and that setup is you take the four kings and you turn them upside down and put them on the bottom of the deck like this, okay? The rest of the deck is perfectly normal, all right? Face down when you're holding them normally, so that when you get to the end, the four kings are face up. You can, if you want, do a shuffle of your own beforehand, but it kind of defeats the purpose, because at least in the storyline that I use, the drunk taking the cards from you and doing the shuffle. And this is where we come across Tenkai Ishida's contribution to this effect. When you do the little story about the drunk grabbing the cards, you take half the deck and you turn them this way, because obviously you're going to shuffle them in to the deck face up. But as you do that, take your left hand that has the bottom half of the deck and you do a wrist kill. All right, you see now what you've done is you've put the kings on the top. These are the kings. And by doing them simultaneously, it becomes a little bit of misdirection, and the movement of this hand away from the other hand kind of hides what you're doing with your left hand. You might get caught out on it. I don't know. I never have. I haven't done this a lot in public for that reason, and for another reason, which I will let you know about in just a minute as well. But that's the move. Okay, that's Tenkai Ishida's move. Taking the cards and you just kind of do a quick wrist kill as you turn the cards face up. So what you're basically doing now is you've got this half of the deck face up, okay, covered by the four kings, which are face down on the top. Now, at this point, you start shuffling. And here's the issue. A lot of times when I do a video, I only shuffle once, even though normally under real-life circumstances, I do it several shuffles and several times. But in videos, I try not to do it too many times to try to keep the length of the video down and cut out unnecessary stuff. But in this particular effect, you do have to do a lot of shuffles, because the four kings tend to kind of clump together. They start out clumped together, and it's difficult to separate them out. It takes a lot of shuffling to do it. The other issue that I have is, hard to describe this, but as you're shuffling the deck, this side is okay because you know that side's face up, but a lot of these cards will be exposed as face up when they're supposed to be, some of them, well, all of them actually, face down. So, so you kind of have to hide that. And the way I do it is a corner shuffle and just slide the cards together rather than a full riffle shuffle. Okay, if you do the full riffle shuffle, I'm going to bring the kings back out again to do this a second time, to show you a second time. But if you do a full riffle shuffle, you're going to end up with something like this. Okay, you're going to have this half of the deck face up. You're going to have this face up with the 4 kings here. And if you do a full bridge, as you'll see in just a moment, okay, it really does expose the other side of the deck that all the cards are face up. You really kind of want to avoid that. So what I do is I try to do a corner shuffle that exposes it very little and then just slide the cards together. If they see the face down cards that are the kings, that's perfectly okay because they're supposed to be face down. And that's it. That is basically the entire effect. It is self-working. It's very easy. And then once you do the shuffling and you've told your story about the drunk challenging you, or whatever story you want to tell them, and you say, well, what am I going to do now? I don't know if I'm going to be able to find them, but you know, I'm such a super magician that I turned everything face up except for 4 cards. And you do your spread, and you know, and the boom, there's your kings, and you shut the drunk right up. Okay, and that's it. That is mixed up kings. Very simple, very easy to do, very simple setup, but you can quickly reset it if you want while nobody's looking, and do it again for someone else later. It does have its faults. You've got to be a little bit careful about showing off the cards too much, and you've got to watch that wrist kill move. Other than that, that's it. You do it correctly, you do it with a little bit of practice, you do it properly with the kings on the bottom with a good deck of cards, and my friends, you will always leave them baffled.